At the wedding, my fiancé slipped a ring onto the finger of his childhood friend in front of everyone. The entire hall fell silent for a second. Holding the microphone, his voice was gentle. When we played wedding games as kids, I said I'd marry you. This ring is to make good on that promise now. His childhood friend covered her mouth, laughing as her eyes welled up, and slowly extended her hand. He lowered his head and slid the ring over her knuckle. The wedding host scrambled to smooth things over. This is just the kind of bond siblings share. Don't take it the wrong way, bride. The guests immediately began murmuring, but neither of them paid any attention. My fiancé looked at her, his eyes full of warmth, and even reached out to ruffle her hair. I stood just 2 steps away, feeling like a fool. After a moment, he finally turned around. He walked up to me, knelt down on one knee, and pulled another ring from his pocket, holding it up before me. Emily Carter, will you marry me? I took a step back.
No.
My fiancé froze in place. He looked up at me, the ring box still open in his hand, the light catching the diamond so brightly it stung my eyes. He seemed not to have heard clearly. His lips moved twice before he managed to say, "What did you say?" I lifted the hem of my dress and took 2 more steps back. I said, "I won't marry you. You two are a better match. Why don't I just take a seat with the guests and enjoy the dinner while you two carry on?" The smile instantly vanished from his childhood friend's face on stage. She frantically tried to pull the ring off her finger, hurrying toward me as she did. "It's not what you think. This was just from when we were kids." No need to explain. I raised my hand to stop her. My fiancé stood up abruptly, gold glitter from the stage still clinging to his knees. He tried to grab my hand, but I stepped aside. "Emily, listen to me. It really was just a joke. She's like a sister to me. I've watched her grow up. Then marry her." I cut him off. He didn't look at me, but turned instead to his childhood friend, his gaze lingering on her face for a moment. My mother's face was pale with anger as she rushed to the front of the stage, pointing a finger at my fiancé. "Ethan Walker, do you think our family has no one to stand up for us?" Ethan quickly turned and bowed his head. "Mrs. Carter, it's really not like that. Don't call me that." My father followed close behind. "Our daughter has been humiliated here today in front of over 600 guests, and you still have the nerve to speak." Ethan's mother rushed onto the stage, insisting that Sophia was just like a sister he grew up with and that the host had already smoothed things over. My mother shook off her hand. If they're like siblings, does that mean he should put a ring on her at his wedding? Should he give her the marital apartment too? My father shielded me as we walked out. Just as we reached the edge of the stage, Ethan's father, who had somehow made his way to the front, blocked our path. "If you're calling off the wedding, fine. But return the wedding expenses." The banquet hall fell silent once more. Mr. Walker blocked the exit, demanding the return of the $30,000 wedding costs. Ethan still insisted it was just a small misunderstanding, while Sophia, her eyes red, tried to hand back the ring. But Mrs. Walker let it slip. Both families had originally wanted Ethan to marry Sophia. I was the one who had come between them. I threw my bouquet to the ground. "You should have said so earlier. I wouldn't have come today just to play a supporting role." My father immediately agreed to return the wedding expenses, then demanded that the Walkers reimburse the $75,000 I had transferred into our joint account, as well as the $45,000 car I had paid for in full before the wedding but registered under Ethan's name. The Walkers' expressions changed instantly. My father raised his phone. "Either return the money, or I'll call the police." Ethan had no choice but to write a written repayment promise on hotel stationery. After he finished, he looked at me, pleading with his eyes for me to stay. "I never agreed to anything with you." I turned and walked away. I stepped out of the hotel doors, leaving the entire mess behind me. My mother patted my back, her voice trembling. "Let's go get something to eat first. You haven't had a bite since this morning." We hurriedly drank some hot soup at the restaurant across from the hotel. My father said we'd go straight to the marital apartment afterward to collect my things. The down payment for the Bellevue apartment had been covered by the Walkers, and the property was under Ethan's name, but the renovations and furniture had been shared between both families. My clothes, documents, and the family heirlooms passed down from my mother were all there, I had to get them back. We called an Uber and headed to the marital apartment. In the car, my mother kept fretting about the family heirlooms, saying they'd been passed down from her grandmother to her, then to me, and that losing them would be a betrayal of her mother's memory. My father sat in the passenger seat, silent, but his knuckles were white as he clenched his phone. In the elevator, my mother tried to compose herself, saying we shouldn't argue with the walkers when we got there, just take our things and leave. I nodded. But when we reached the door, I pressed my finger to the lock and nothing happened. I tried again. Still no response. The fingerprint lock glowed red and buzzed twice. I paused for a moment, then tried the code again. My birthday.
Wrong.
Ethan's birthday.
Wrong.
The anniversary of when we got together. Still wrong. My dad frowned, pulled out his phone, and called Ethan. It rang twice before being hung up. He tried again. This time it went straight to voicemail. My mom grew frantic, pounding on the door. Ethan, open the door. There was movement inside, the sound of footsteps, slippers shuffling across the floor, growing closer. The door opened, but it wasn't Ethan who answered. It was his mother. Mrs. Walker stood there in loungewear. When she saw us, her expression showed no surprise at all. She even wore a faint smile, as if she'd been expecting us. Oh, you're here? My mom tried to push past her. My daughter's things are still inside. Let us in to get them. It finally became clear to me. In less than 2 hours, this family had changed the passcode, seized my belongings, and unified their story. They weren't just acting out of temporary anger. They were accustomed to scheming together. I held my father's arm. Let's go. We'll get the things back, but not by begging them. The door slammed shut in my face. After leaving the apartment, we went back to my parents' house. My mom kicked off the high heels she'd been standing in all day, and my dad lit a cigarette for the first time in 7 years, coughing as the smoke hit his lungs. I'll find a lawyer tomorrow, he said. This afternoon, I replied. My mom wiped her tears and looked up. Yes, this afternoon. We can't let them bully us like this. My bridesmaid group chat and messages from friends were flooded with support. Some offered to recommend lawyers. Others reminded me to file a report and cancel my documents. I dug through months of chat logs between Ethan and Sophia. Photos of pink nails across a restaurant table, a woman's voice in a bar telling him to stop drinking, his so-called overnight stays at a colleague's place. Every detail I'd overlooked before now made sense. A friend in media sent me the full wedding video. I clipped a 5-minute segment of him putting the ring on Sophia, me refusing to go through with the wedding, and throwing the bouquet. I saved it, ready to make it public if necessary. But I didn't rush to post it. Because someone knocked on the door. My mom answered. Standing there was the most active member of the bridesmaid group, Olivia, my college roommate, who'd stayed in touch after graduation. She'd stood on the stage in a champagne-colored bridesmaid dress earlier, speaking up for me. She walked in carrying 2 large plastic bags, one filled with fruit, the other with takeout containers. Mr. and Mrs. Carter, I figured you probably haven't eaten much. I brought some hot soup and dishes. She opened the containers one by one, arranging them on our dining table. My mom's eyes welled up again as she thanked her. Olivia gently pushed her into a chair, then pulled me from the couch, handing each of us a bowl of hot soup.
Eat.
Once you're full, we'll go settle things with that scumbag. I held the bowl of hot soup and took a sip. It was pork and preserved egg soup, warm, perfectly seasoned. Halfway through the bowl, I realized how painfully empty my stomach had been. Olivia introduced me to family law attorney Daniel Brooks. Over the phone, he confirmed that the wedding video, chat logs, and photos of the apartment items could all serve as evidence. He advised filing a police report immediately, then sending a legal notice to pursue charges for withholding property and using documents to coerce me into surrendering assets. I explained the steps to my dad. Let's go. I'll come with you. At the police station, I filed the report and was given an incident number. Although the property documents are in Ethan's name, half of the things inside were paid for by our family. What reason do you have to keep us out? The security supervisor stood nearby, rubbing his hands nervously, clearly not wanting to offend either side. As the standoff continued, the elevator doors opened again. Daniel stepped out, carrying a briefcase. His eyes scanned the scene behind his glasses before he pulled out a document from his bag. I am the legal representative of Ms. Emily. Here are my lawyer's license and power of attorney. He handed the documents to the building management manager. My client filed a report with the police this afternoon. According to Washington state law, unlawfully withholding another person's property is illegal. You are obligated to cooperate. The building management manager's face turned pale. He examined the documents repeatedly before finally returning them to Daniel and taking a step back. Even so, we can't force open someone's door. You should call the police and have an officer open it. Without further ado, Daniel took out his phone and dialed the police non-emergency hotline. The wait for the police wasn't long, no more than 20 minutes. The peephole in Ethan's door remained dark the entire time. He had blocked it from the inside. 2 police officers arrived at the scene, 1 male and 1 female. The male officer was young, while the other was a seasoned female officer. They reviewed my incident report number and Daniel's lawyer's letter, exchanging a glance. The older female officer stepped up to the door and knocked 3 times. Hello, Seattle Police Department. Please open the door to cooperate with the investigation. The sound of the TV inside stopped. After a moment of silence, the door opened. Mr. Walker stood at the door, with Mrs. Walker behind him and Ethan further back. On their dining table were 4 dishes and a soup steaming hot. It looked like they were in the middle of dinner. I glanced inside. 2 pairs of women's slippers had been added beside the sofa, and a pink thermos sat on the coffee table. When Ethan saw the commotion outside, his face immediately changed. Emily, you called the police? I ignored him and held up the incident report number in front of him. I'm here to get my things. Mrs. Walker tried to step forward again, but was stopped by a sharp look from the older female officer. She's here to retrieve her own documents and personal belongings. That's her rightful entitlement. You have no right to withhold them. Mr. Walker frowned. The bedroom door was slightly ajar. I pushed it open. My photo was still on the nightstand, but a bottle of perfume I didn't recognize sat beside the frame. I opened the wardrobe door. All my clothes had been stuffed into storage boxes at the bottom, crumpled and wrinkled, as if they'd been yanked off the hangers, balled up and thrown in. A few women's coats I'd never seen before hung in the wardrobe, their tags still attached. I crouched down and started pulling items out of the storage box one by one. My college diploma, birth certificate, social security card, and graduation photos were pressed beneath a winter down jacket, the cover of one slightly creased. The rosewood box my mother gave me, which had been in the bottom drawer of the nightstand, was no longer there. I pulled out all 3 drawers, turning them upside down, but it was nowhere to be found. My heart sank. Mom, I called out to the living room. Where did you put the family heirloom jewelry? My mother hurried in, crouched down, and searched alongside me, her expression growing increasingly grim. She turned and rushed out to the hallway, glaring at Ethan and his family. Where's my daughter's family heirloom jewelry? My daughter put it there herself when she moved in, and you're telling me you haven't seen it? The older female officer stood nearby, her gaze fixed on Ethan. Young man, tell the truth. Ethan's Adam's apple bobbed twice before he finally squeezed out a few words. I don't know. Maybe my mom put it away somewhere. Mrs. Walker was about to speak when the older policewoman raised her hand to stop her, continuing to look at Ethan. Ask your mother to bring it out. Ethan walked over to his mother, whispered something to her. Mrs. Walker glared at him, hesitated for a long moment, then turned and went into the master bedroom. She pulled the rosewood box out from a storage bag on the top shelf of the wardrobe. I took it and opened it. Empty. There was a circular imprint on the golden velvet lining, but nothing inside. Where is it? I looked at her. She stiffened her neck. I put it away. I forgot where. The older policewoman took a step forward. Ma'am, let me tell you one last time. If you bring it out now, we can treat this as a regular dispute for mediation. If you don't, that's suspected theft. The amount is significant. Think about the consequences yourself. Mrs. Walker's lips trembled twice before she turned and went back into the bedroom. This time she was gone for a long while. When she returned, she was clutching a plastic bag, transparent, like the kind from a supermarket, rustling with noise inside. She thrust the bag toward me. I took it and opened it. The family heirloom jewelry was crumpled into a ball inside the plastic bag. The gold necklace was tied in a tight knot, the gold ring was bent out of shape, and one of the gold earrings was missing its back. When my mother saw the state of these things, she swayed on her feet. My father steadied her, his lips pressed into a thin line. I tied the plastic bag shut, held it close, and turned to pack the rest of my things. Clothes, cosmetics, books, documents, photo frames, trinkets from friends, work hard drives. One by one, I packed them into boxes. Ethan stood in the doorway, opening his mouth several times before finally saying, "Emily, are you really going to do this?" I didn't look up. At 2 a.m, I received a call from Ethan. It rang for a long time. I didn't answer. He called again. Still no answer. When he called for the third time, I picked up. He was panting on the other end, his tone more uncontrolled than I'd ever heard, edged with a near-breaking hoarseness. "Emily, have you lost your mind? You posted that video online. My parents' personal information has been exposed. Sophia's employer details have been dug up. Are you satisfied now?" Everything I posted is true. He fell silent for a moment, and when he spoke again, his voice was lower, as if struggling to control something. "Take the video down, and we can talk properly. There's nothing to talk about. Do you have to take it this far?" His voice began to rise again. My father said, "What do you know? What does a loud voice have to do with being healthy?" My mother said, "The donkey in our village had a loud voice and could work all morning without resting." My father's expression was priceless. Ethan shouted even louder downstairs, and I laughed so hard I almost fell off the windowsill. Back then, I thought he was the one for this lifetime. When I woke up the next day, sunlight was already spilling over the edge of my pillow. I pulled out my phone and turned it on. The ding-dong of message notifications rang for several minutes before stopping. 300 unread iMessages, half cursing Ethan, half asking if I was okay, and a dozen or so from Ethan himself. The last one was sent at 4:30 a.m. "Emily, you'll regret this." I stared at that sentence for a while, then swiped up to see Olivia's message. "The lawyer wants you to come to the firm today to sign the formal retainer agreement." Also, Ethan's mom sent an iMessage to his childhood friend early this morning, and someone leaked the screenshot. Followed by a screenshot. "Sophia, don't be afraid. Ethan and that woman are completely over. Let me handle this, and Ethan will be with you." The message was sent at 7:03 a.m. today. I saved the screenshot to my album, where 47 pieces of evidence were already stored. With each edition, the reluctance in my heart shattered a little more. At 2 p.m, I sat in Daniel's office. The law firm was on the 26th floor of an office building in downtown Seattle. The floor-to-ceiling windows offered a panoramic view of the city skyline, with sunlight reflecting off the glass. Daniel slid the retainer agreement toward me, 3 copies, all already signed by me. He flipped through the materials in his hand, arranging the iMessage screenshot, videos, photos of the family heirloom jewelry, and the police incident report one by one. He adjusted his glasses. The evidence chain is quite solid. First, public defamation and reputational damage in a public setting. With 600 people present and online dissemination, the impact is significant. Second, unlawful detention and possession, with clear amounts and well-documented evidence of time and location. Third, he paused, looking at me. "How far do you want to take this?" I thought for a moment. "To reclaim what belongs to me. To make them understand that bullying comes with a price." He nodded and turned the laptop beside him toward me. On the screen was a drafted legal letter. "Shall I read it to you?" "Go ahead." He cleared his throat. "Regarding the public humiliation and defamation of the client at the wedding, the unlawful seizure of the client's personal belongings and premarital family heirloom jewelry, and the extortion directed at the client, we hereby make the following demands on behalf of the client. 1. Immediate return of all personal belongings to the client.
2.
Compensation for emotional distress damages. 3. a public apology to mitigate the impact. Daniel added a line to the legal letter on his computer and returned the $75,000 transferred by the client to the joint account before the marriage, as well as the $45,000 paid on behalf of the client for the car purchase. Then he pressed send. The moment the electronic legal letter was sent, my phone lit up. It was a call from Olivia. Emily, open X. It's trending at number 8. I opened X. The 8th trending topic was hashtag Ethan's childhood friend speaks out hashtag. I clicked on it. The childhood friend named Sophia had posted a lengthy message. It included a selfie of her with red, swollen eyes from crying, holding a note that read, "I'm sorry." The post read, "I never intended to hurt anyone. Ethan and I grew up together. That ring really was a joke from our childhood wedding games. When he said he'd make it up to me, I was touched because of our friendship, nothing more. I'm sorry about what happened yesterday, but I'm also heartbroken. Because of this, my phone number was leaked, my colleagues saw the video, and I had to take time off work, too afraid to leave my house. Emily, I apologize to you, but please delete the video. Don't let cyberbullying hurt more innocent people." The comments were already overwhelming. The top comment read, "How dare she talk about cyberbullying? She didn't seem to mind when she was putting a ring on someone else's fiancé at their wedding." The second top comment said, "If your words are so sweet, why don't you take your hand off the ring?" The third top comment read, "Girl, with acting skills like yours, it's a shame you're not in showbiz." The fourth top comment was Olivia's reply, just 2 words, "Haha." But there were also voices speaking up for her. Some said, "She already apologized. Pushing her to the brink is a bit too much." Others argued, "The groom is the real problem here. Both women are victims." That I made his childhood friend cry. Leaning back in Daniel's office chair, I asked him, if I refused to take the video down, what legal risks would I face? As long as the video content is truthful, unedited, and not maliciously manipulated, you're not at risk. It's a statement of fact, not defamation. Reading my expression, he added, "The same goes for the screenshots you posted." "Then I'll leave them up." I texted Ethan back, "You sound more sincere pleading for her than you did kneeling to me at the wedding." He didn't reply. Leaving the law firm, it was still early, the sun warm and slightly scorching on my skin. My dad called. "Your mom made grilled ribs. Come home for dinner." Okay. After hanging up, I called an Uber. When I gave the address, the driver glanced at me, his eyes lingering on my face for a couple of seconds. "Aren't you the bride from that trending topic?" So, the situation had spread faster than I'd imagined.
Yes.
"You did the right thing. That kind of man isn't worth it." He slapped the steering wheel, his voice so loud the windows seemed to tremble. If my daughter ever went through something like that, I'd smash up his family shop. He spent the entire ride cursing Ethan, all the way from Bellevue to South Seattle. When we reached my place, he even rounded down the fare by $2. "Kid, next time, make sure you really see who you're dealing with." "If it doesn't work out, I have a nephew. Sir, I'm not really thinking about that right now." Right, take your time."
No rules.
I rounded it down for you. Walking upstairs, my steps felt lighter than they had yesterday. The smell of grilled ribs drifted through the door crack. When my mom opened the door, she was still holding a spatula, her apron dotted with soy sauce stains. "You're back? What did the lawyer say?" "We sent a legal notice. We'll wait for their response within 7 days." She hummed an acknowledgement, turning back to the kitchen to stir-fry the vegetables, her movements more forceful than usual, the spatula clanging against the wok. My dad was sitting on the couch watching the news, the volume turned low. Seeing me come in, he set the remote down. Halfway through the meal, my mom suddenly put down her chopsticks. That childhood friend, she posted that article today. I saw some people online criticizing her, but others said she's pitiful. "Why care what others say?" My dad replied without looking up. "I was just thinking," my mom said, "what was she really after?" I wondered, what was she really after? I scrolled through the childhood friend's X account. She hadn't posted much before, just 3 to 5 posts a month, mostly food check-ins or selfies, occasionally sharing quotes from relationship bloggers. There's a photo of her with a guy, his face completely blurred by mosaic, but that build, that gray hoodie, those white sneakers. I recognize them. They were birthday gifts I bought for Ethan. That hoodie cost over $800, money I saved by skipping 2 months of milk tea. I saved the photo and added it to the evidence folder. Then I turned off my phone and closed my eyes. Rain fell in the night, tapping against the windowsill, a soft, slow patter. I woke up at 4:30 a.m. The rain had stopped, and the city lights cast a long, stretched shadow of a water stain on the ceiling. The day the money came back was overcast. Daniel called while I was at home packing up 5 large boxes. My mom was beside me, folding clothes one by one, smoothing them out just like when I was a child. Ethan's side called. They agreed to settle. I put the phone on speaker and placed it on the coffee table. How much? Full refund. $120,000, not a cent less. He refused the emotional damages, said if we wanted that, we'd have to go to court. Daniel paused. My advice is to take the win. Litigation takes too long, and there are too many variables. My mom froze mid-fold, looking at me. I thought for 3 seconds.
Fine.
When will it be deposited? Before this afternoon. The condition is that you post a statement on X, saying the matter has been resolved and asking everyone to stop the online attacks against the Walker family.
Deal.
I agreed, without hesitation. Not because I suddenly felt soft-hearted. It was because $75,000 of that $120,000 was my own money and $45,000 came from my dad. I couldn't drag my parents' money into a fight with someone who wasn't worth it. At 2 p.m., the bank notification arrived. My dad glanced at it, tucked his phone back into his pocket, his expression unreadable, not quite happy, not quite anything else. He was silent for a long time before finally saying, "All right, it's over." I posted the statement as agreed. The photo was a screenshot of the bank transfer with just one line. The matter has been resolved. Thank you for your concern. In the comments, some said, that's it. Others wrote, classy move, bride. And some added, hope we never have to see those 2 names again. I closed X and went to the kitchen to pour my mom a glass of water. I thought that was the end of it, but I underestimated the internet's memory. After my statement, the online chatter didn't die down. Instead, it shifted from condemning Ethan to exposing Ethan. The first to unravel was his job. Ethan worked as a marketing operations manager at a tech company. On the 3rd day after the video went viral, netizens noticed his LinkedIn page had been viewed tens of thousands of times, with the comment section flooded with criticism. Some even sent private messages to the company's official social media accounts, linking the wedding video with the caption, "How can you keep someone like this in a management role?" The company's HR called him. According to a version later shared privately by one of his colleagues, HR's exact words were, "The company is in the middle of a new round of funding and can't afford this kind of negative publicity. Resign voluntarily, and we'll let you keep some dignity." He refused, insisting that if he was leaving, it would be through termination with compensation. HR said fine. The company would terminate him. The reason? Serious violation of professional ethics, causing significant damage to the company's reputation.
No compensation whatsoever.
That day, he posted on Instagram just one line. 6 years from entry-level to manager, undone in 3 days. The photo showed his cleaned-out desk, with only a nearly dead pothose plant left. I glanced at it, didn't like or comment, just scrolled past. Then came the childhood friend. Her tearful, lengthy post didn't help her case. Instead, it sparked even more intense digging. Someone uncovered her X-alt account from 3 years ago. The account was filled with photos of her and Ethan, spanning from 3 years ago until this February. In most of the photos, Ethan's hand was on her shoulder or around her waist. One photo, dated December 23rd last year, 2 days before Christmas, stood out. The caption read, "Got this year's Christmas gift early. Thanks, Ethan." In the photo, she held a small luxury brand box, the logo clearly visible. The room was lit with warm yellow light, and a hotel bed was in the background. The post had only a few comments at the time. She replied to one friend, He's not my boyfriend, just a brother I've known forever. He's really sweet. After her alt account was exposed, she went completely silent. X, Instagram, TikTok. All her social media accounts were wiped clean overnight. But she wasn't fast enough. Someone had already screenshotted everything from her alternate account, bundled it up, and posted it online, creating a new trending hashtag. Under that post, someone commented, "She's a repeat offender." Another said, "Why blame her? The real one who deserves it is that guy." 5 days after Ethan resigned, he called me. I hesitated, but answered. His voice was so hoarse I could barely recognize it. "Don't mention that person." My mom smiled and placed a piece of roast beef into my bowl. "Right, let's not talk about it. The food's getting cold."